Yo, check this! Done. 7 files, working component, 3 JS libraries, running in Framer. Before we jump into the weeds, let me introduce myself. I'm David, full-stack developer and co-founder at Batchup Studio. I build Framer code components and plugins for the community, for Framer University, for InsertFrame, for VibeFrame, for clients, or just for fun. This is CodeSync, and here is what just happened. Look at these imports. These are custom bundled 3JS libraries, but in my local code, I use basic npm packages. How did they change? It's this config file. Here I tell CodeSync, hey, whenever you see this npm package, replace it with this custom bundle URL. Now look at this .tsx suffix. That's something you need to have in Framer, but inside of your local React project, it's not necessary. And CodeSync transforms this automatically. But why does it even matter? The real problem isn't one component, it's component libraries and custom complex Framer systems and how you transfer all of your files from your local IDE to Framer project. Before CodeSync, I had 2 bad options. Option 1 is the monolithic approach, where I pack everything into giant files. One component, multiple thousands lines of code, everything crammed in. This was Audio Cubes before, everything together, and it is around 1600 lines of code. Does it work? Yes. Is it maintainable? No. Is it clean code? Absolutely not. But it was faster than option 2 with properly organized files, because I needed to manually copy each file to Framer. If I change one line of code in 5 files, then I needed to copy all 5 back again. I need to replace import manually, and I needed to replace environment variables manually. For one component, maybe tolerable, but for component libraries and complex systems, it's not. I like clean code, I like small files, and I like separation of concerns, but I couldn't do it until CodeSync. Because right now, I can have proper folder structure, and I just drag the folder into the CodeSync, and it takes care of everything. It replaces imports, replaces envs, add tsx suffix, and I can have any number of files and it just works. A quick context on how I work. I don't code in Framer, I code in Cursor. Local React project, same React version as Framer, and also same Framer motion version as Framer. And why is that? The reason number 1 is that I use AI to help me code, whether it's agentic coding inside of a cursor or just a tab complete, which help me to stay more in the coding flow. Reason number 2 is instant preview. When I change something in this code, let's say we'll put it padding to 80 pixels, and as soon as I click Command S, we're gonna see the changes. No clicks, no waiting. So I'm pressing Command S right now. You can see it was instant. In Framer, I will need to save the file, click back, click on preview to see the component in the full page context, and if I want to change something again in the file, I will need to click back, find the code file, click on it, and do the changes. It's just way too much clicking, way too much everything, and it's just way too slow for a complex work. And the reason number 3 is that I use Git for a code version control. So everything is versioned, every change is versioned, and I can come back to any state of the code that was before. This workflow only works because CodeSync makes file transfer instant. I build locally with AI help, and I transfer to Framer in 2 seconds. And now let me show you something really powerful. This is Frameship, the Shopify Framer integration. It has 90 plus files and multiple environments. And here is a problem. When I code locally, I use this localhost URL for my backend. When I test it in a staging, I use this staging backend URL. And when I push the code to production, I use production backend URL. And manually editing envs in multiple files, there is like no way, it's too painful, too slow, too tedious. So I have this env.tsx file, 3 options per each variable. In my local code, when I code, I use that development everywhere. So for example, you can see that env.backend.url.development, and same thing for backend API key. And then in coding, I just select the environment over here. So now when we check the backend client, you can see that our backend URL and backend API key was switched to staging. So whenever I upload the folder, it will scan for env.variable.development and it will replace it with .staging. So when we sketch it out, it looks like this. You have env.tsx files somewhere in your project. You have the variables with 3 options for each variable: development, staging, and production. We use always .development in our local code, and then in the CodeSig plugin, you just select the environment. When you select staging, the code will be transformed to Framer with .staging variable and its option. And the plugin remembers these settings per project, so you always upload to the right environment. This is how I manage Frameship across 3 different environments. It's 90 plus files, 30 plus components and counting, and 0 manual editing. Let me give you a quick tour of other features. We have the upload mode, folder, or files. When you drag and drop to this area, it figures out automatically, but when you click and select, then you need to have the proper upload mode selected. Then we have overwrite all file checkbox, and normally it uploads only changed files. So when we drag this folder, as we did on the beginning of the video, you can see that there are no changes, everything is up to date. But let's add something over here, just a comment. We're gonna save it, and we're going to drop this folder over here again. You can see that there was one file that was uploading and now it's changed. When you click on overwrite all files, it's gonna overwrite everything. So let's hop it in, and you can see that now every file is gonna be uploaded again. Then we have unpacked root, which is checked by default, and it just unpacks the folder contents into the root. So when I drag the Framer components folder, it's not going to create Framer components folder, but the contents of this folder are going to be unpacked over here. But there are some cases when you don't want to do this, so you can uncheck it. And now when you drag this folder, it's going to create a new Framer components folder, and the content is gonna be inside of this folder. And then we have this export tab, which will allow you to download all your Framer code back to your computer. You can even select folders of which you want to download, and then you click on export, and it's going to download the zip exported files. This export feature was built by Isaac Roberts, a community contributor, because this plugin is a open source plugin. You can add your own features, you can open a PR, and I will merge it and credit you in the changelog. Cool, so now let's summarize what changed. So before the coding, I usually use the monolithic approach with a monolithic components, which resulted into multiple thousand lines of code per file. I had to manually copy the files. It was tedious and error prone. I need to manually import my replacement, these npm libraries what I just showed you. I need to manually switch the envs, my backend URLs, my API keys, everything. And building component libraries was painful at scale, and the same applies to building complex projects and systems. After the coating, I can use clean and modular structure with small and focused files. I just drag and drop or select the folder, which is going to be uploaded in a matter of seconds. The imports are replaced automatically based on the settings in a config file that I set. The envs are going to be switched manually because I have env.tsx and I select the environment inside of my plugin. And I can build component libraries with ease, and I can build complex projects and systems with ease. Coating completely changed how I built for Framer. Before, it was monolithic files, manual copying, and painful to build at scale. But after, I have clean structure, I have automatic transformations, and easy to build at scale. Coating is free and open source. You can find the link in the description of this video. And by the way, I am creating a course and a tooling on how to use NPM packages reliably in Framer, how to create custom bundles of these libraries, how to host them, and how to use them in your Framer projects. If that's something you are interested in, join the waitlist, the link is in the description. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.